Hey everyone, Rizwan Jagani here, and welcome to my Wednesday video this week. I've had a lot of cool things happen. If you follow me on social media, specifically Instagram, and if you don't do that, there's a link below. Please follow me. That way you can keep up with what I'm doing. But I'm actually very blessed with a lot of cool opportunities and a lot of cool things that have happened to me. I did my last bridal show performance for the South Asian Bridal Expo that happens in Dallas. I performed at Ross All Stars. I have 2 performance videos from both of those events. And then the third event that happened was the Fun Asia Beauty Pageant. I placed 2nd runner-up for Mr. Fun Asia, and I also won Best Talent doing a Bollywood viola piece. Still waiting for that performance, but you can watch the other 2 performances on my channel or up here if you want to make things easier. But I realized from all these different events, I figured I'd give some information to you guys, and this is where this video is born. It's my top 5 performance pro tips. Now, these tips do not apply to the learning process of your music. You need to put in your hours for the music and have your set ready to go. This is for, making things easier before you get to the venue and when you get to the venue, so you can just enjoy performing. That is what we do, but these are logistical things that are going to make your life so much easier. Tip number 1, have all your equipment ready to go. If you are a musician that gigs with a lot of material and a lot of different accoutrement pieces, you want to make sure that you have everything ready to go, whether it's the appliance itself, the wiring. Me personally, I have my pickup that I attach to my instrument, the instrument itself of course, wires for my IEMs and amplification equipment. You want to make sure you have everything ahead of time, because if you don't want to get to the venue and realize that you left something at home and home is 30 minutes away, you're kind of screwed. Another sort of add-on to this tip is to get in touch with your venue or an event coordinator at the venue ahead of time. That way you know what systems they might have, what things you might be able to access. Like if you're a singer and they have their own microphones, usually you can use those rather than having to take your own. But that also facilitates things to know about your equipment working with their systems. And I've done this with almost every single event. I've always tried to get in touch with whoever is doing sound ahead of time or someone who is just doing the media AV stuff. Tip number 2, arrive at your venue with time to spare. I usually go about an hour to 30 minutes to an hour before my actual sound check. And this is because if you're not familiar with a certain location, let's say you don't know where to park, you don't know where you're performing or during your sound check, you don't know who to meet at the venue. Obviously, if you've had conversations with people beforehand, you know who you're meeting. But just for the sake of familiarization, it's always good to arrive early. Nothing is more stressful than arriving in a situation where you have to prepare for a performance and you're feeling rushed. Number 3, have all your information ready to go and be specific about everything. For example, your equipment, how it works and how it needs to work with their system. Get in touch with your audio guy at the event and sort of, be very specific with your details about certain things. Another thing that is also helpful is, for example, your sound check. Let's say you're doing a 6-song set or, a 4-song set, ranging from even 2 songs to 6 songs. I would not recommend doing run-throughs. Run-throughs are the last thing you might want to do on the day of a performance, especially if you want to save up all the energy just to give a tour de force performance. So for example, let's say each song you have time-sensitive entrances. Just do those entrances during sound check. That way you know how to respond in a new room, and you kind of can just sort of in the zone know what's going to happen. That's what I always do. And I also just make sure in that amount of time that all my equipment is working all hunky-dory at that moment. Tip number 4 is having a meal before your show. Now, I wouldn't recommend having a big plate of dinner, because with hormones and adrenaline and all these other things, your body might not react the best to it. So I always recommend having something very light, maybe some fruit, maybe a snack, and always having some water. Keep yourself hydrated just to sort of keep yourself focused. If you've done this before and you know what works for you, stick with that. This is just my thing. I don't like having big meals. I like having something small. Everybody likes the banana because of the beta blockers that they make you less nervous. I'm not a banana person when it comes to performances. To each his own on this one, but this was another one. And number 1, which I feel is the most important, remind yourself why you perform and why you love being a musician. For me, it's getting to connect with an audience, getting to share my work with them, and believe it or not, that is probably the most important tip, because as soon as you step on stage and you've done all your sound checks, you're at the venue ready to go, that is the one thing that you're going to shove literally through your music to your audience. And this is exactly what happens when you put all these things together. magical, and I have no other way to describe it. And I actually did not know this was happening on the day of because of my IEMs. 10 people came up to me afterwards saying that, Rizwan, you have the whole audience singing with you. And then my friend Neil sent me this video, and I cannot stop smiling when I watch it because it reminds me of what I can do with my music. A little bit of advice that I'm going to also give to you before I end this video is to thank everybody when you're at these events, because a lot of times the people at these event venues are doing thankless jobs. So whether it's your person of correspondence, your sound people, even the ushers that are sort of opening doors for people, say thank you to everyone. It makes their day, it's common courtesy, and it's just for being a good individual. I always make sure that before I perform, thank you to everybody. After I perform, thank you to everyone. When everything goes smoothly, because it's their job to make sure things run smoothly, and it's your job to show your gratitude towards them, and the thank you goes a long way. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any other sort of tips that you do before performances that sort of help things out, please leave those in the comment section, and be sure to benefit from these if they will work for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for my performance video next week. I have a few things up my sleeve. Hopefully I can get my pageant performance video, so once it's available, you'll be able to watch it. Until then, happy Wednesday. Bye.